Okay. You're gonna go at 5:30?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the normal thing to say is, if you want to speak, we've got the microphone at the podium here. So,
Do we want to move forward?
well, I don't care myself.
You want me to move forward?
He said it could be
No,
there.
that's fine. That's perfect. Yeah.
Except it's hard for people to see the speaker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's maybe just go up front. Normally we wouldn't have.
Okay.
You don't want to get too close.
Yeah, here, we'll do this. I don't have a shot with the camera there. That's why I put it there. Right here? So
we're going back and we were.
Perfect, right there. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. There you go. Towards the camel. And we're live.
Basically, that's what we said.
That's all right.
We're already trying.
It's okay.
We tried.
It's okay.
We're live.
We're live.
Yeah. And you can turn it on if you want.
All right, test, test, test.
There you go.
Okay. No moving the microphone. Speak into the microphone.
There you go.
It is 5:31. Are we ready to rock and roll?
You're good to go, sir.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for attending tonight. What happened to my agenda?
Oh, I took a quick one.
Is that the one you took from there? Oh.
No, I just made multiple
Okay, I
copies.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Roll call. Thomas Aceves is not here tonight. Tim Chiara is here. Linda Alexander is not here tonight. She might be attending by Zoom. Lisa Benavides.
Here.
David Eby is not here. All right. Catherine Parankama.
Here.
Claudine Pedroncelli.
Here.
All right. We have 4 members present. That's a quorum. We will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Have we had the opportunity to look at the minutes? That's terrible. Have we had the opportunity to look at the
Yes.
minutes? We have.
Yes.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are accepted. All right. So we move on to public input. Where did my piece of paper go? Is that it? This is it. Thank you. Sorry? Who said something? Okay. Okay. So I have something for public input, and it relates to this Clear Lake Enhancement Water Quality, Stormwater, and Flood Protection Initiative that we are trying to just figure out. Thomas Aceves got this in the mail as far as in the mail, and there is a survey attached that you're supposed to return by June 6th. And as far as I know, this should have gone out to all property owners. But yes, well, that's what I'm not sure about. But I'm bringing it up so that we can get some clarification perhaps somehow. Is there some way that we...
Have you received it? No, not yet.
Not yet.
Right. Pony Express hasn't gotten to Nice just yet.
Okay. So it's basically about they want more money for stuff. but this is like the first toes in the water sort of thing, I guess, to get some feedback in the form of public input. And I don't know, that's about all I can say about that, because I don't really know.
Is there anything on there that has anything online? Like on the bottom bar, maybe?
It might have had something on the survey part that Thomas had that you're supposed to, oh, here we go. What is this? This says www.inputlocal.com. To respond online, visit www.inputlocal.com and enter code found on front of survey, this is not the survey.
Was it put out by the Watershed Protection District?
Lake County Watershed Protection District.
There's a board member here, our chair of the board.
Well, I showed it to him.
Yeah, no, I know, it's a real nice political move, by the way. But that is, if you read it, it says stormwater.
Yeah.
That's part of the stormwater task force. I'm not on that committee no more, so I have to take a look at it. It's the first time I've seen it.
Okay, well but that's the first time you've seen it, that says something. Okay.
Not on the committee.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, does anybody have any ideas about that right now? Sorry, Ray? All right, no, okay, gotcha.
When, in the top part there, it says, why am I receiving the survey? Does it outline who's,
Public health, Clear Lakes water quality and flood protection are important to Lake County residents. Lake County Watershed Protection District is responsible for managing water resources, flood control, and environmental protection.
so I can volunteer. I'll call the Watershed District tomorrow and I'll put on Upper Lake Connect what they tell me. Maybe we can send it out via the email too, what the survey's for.
And who is the absolute group that it's supposed to be?
Stormwater, it's the stormwater group.
Yeah, and if
But I
somebody
mean, like,
did not
as
receive
far as
it-
residents go, who was supposed
Looks like
to?
it's for everybody. I don't know why everyone hasn't received it. But
Okay.
Yeah, so
But who knows, Thomas, he's he might have got it before everybody else.
And I'm not going to pretend like I know what it's about when I don't.
Yeah.
Even though I'm part of the overseeing board of the Watershed Protection District. I'm not privy to everything that they put out because there's committees set up in place.
Right, so I'd be happy to call and see, hey, my neighbor got this.
Okay, so why don't you,
Yeah.
you tell,
I'll have
ask
to follow up
about
too.
it,
That's
write
what
that
I'm saying.
down.
I'll have to follow up myself. That's why I can't just say yes.
Yeah, that's fine, appreciate that. All right, so is there any public input?
Well, they're only asking for $9.75 per property increase to help with the maintenance of,
Stormwater?
yep,
So you did get it?
I did,
Yeah?
You did get this.
yes.
Well, she's water.
And do you know anybody else that got it?
Point of order, this is it, was this information?
Yeah, you're correct, it's correct, thank you.
Thank
What
you.
zip code are you in?
She's here.
What zip code is your postal address on?
95485.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on. Biochar update.
Wait, I think he had.
Go ahead, sorry.
He had up there.
John, go ahead.
Hi, is this on? Okay, great. So, talking about toes in the water, this is the time of year that I usually start thinking about going swimming. And what I noticed that over on Rancheria Road, across the bridge on Rancheria Road, there'd be the southwest corner beyond the bridge. There's a little field there, and there's a new sign that's gone up, and it says Pomo Park. It's nice. It's very nice. However, just below the bridge, there used to be, I guess, an informal public access to the creek. There's a little kind of gravel beach and a pool there and stuff. And that's been closed off. And the same thing is true over here at the Highway 20 bridge, where there's kind of a pool above the Highway 20 bridge. So I was just an idea that maybe the county could negotiate a little widening of the bridge easement on the Rancheria Bridge, and that would allow for at least a narrow avenue of public access down to the creek right there at the bridge, so people could go and get their toes in the water. Anyway, that's what I was thinking about.
This bridge,
Yeah, it's the Rancheria Bridge over here, and it's the Highway 20 bridge over, on the highway.
You
But
mean-
more people go to Rancheria, it's a nicer spot.
So you're saying that the bridge over Middle Creek
Yes,
on Highway 20?
yes, on Highway 20 and over
And that's
here.
like a little swimming pool in there, sort of?
Well, people go down, there's a
Yeah.
pool that kind of stays longer than the rest.
Yep.
And the same is true up at the Rancheria Road Bridge. There's a kind of a weir there below the bridge, and there's a pool below the weir that, the nice little water a little bit of running water stays there longer than in a lot of other places. And people would go down there and, I wouldn't call it swimming, you can get in the water.
How deep is it there?
Oh, a couple feet, maybe,
Oh,
3
so-
feet.
You're-
It's really just like.
You're more or less sitting in the water then?
You're sitting in the, yeah,
Okay.
it's not you're
No
not,
diving allowed?
oh, gosh, no. No swimming laps or anything like that.
No
It's just a
swings on
nice-
the trees?
It's
and
just a nice place to go and cool off on a hot day.
Yeah.
That's all, okay, bye.
Thank you, John. All right, any more public input? All right. Item 4, biochar update. As far as I know, the only update we have is that it's been continued. Do you have any information you want to say, Barbara? But all I know is that it's been continued before the Board of Supervisors. Yes, absolutely.
so yesterday it was continued to June 17th at 1 p.m. And so both parties apparently had agreed. One said they didn't, but either way, that's the way it read in an email to some of us. So that's why it was recommended. So it'll be seen that day instead. So I know that the board felt that way, that they wanted to see it postponed because they wanted to be able to read and digest a lot more.
Some more information?
Right. And so,
Okay.
so there it is. That's when that will be, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much.
I have a question for Ms. Morris. I think,
But
or
she
maybe
can't
Julia.
speak- She can't speak to her?
Um,
Well, absolutely. Please.
yeah, you can if you want. It's fine. Whichever works. I don't know. Yeah.
Yep, that's good.
I need the steps.
Yep.
Who am I bringing it to?
Barbara.
Oh,
Or Ms. Morris.
Lisa, go ahead.
I had seen on Upper Lake Connect that there was something about grant fraud, that was something new that I hadn't heard about. So I was wondering if you knew, there was something about a water
I've
grant.
never used the word fraud.
Oh, no, I thought someone said that there was an investigation, so I was wondering if you knew.
And I didn't use the word investigation, but yes.
Might not have been you. Might have been
That's
Sharon.
okay, somebody could have used those words.
Yeah.
The funding contract between the California Department of Water Resources and the County of Lake had conditions that were not met. And for example, right after, they received the 1.5 million, it's supposed to happen after each property is purchased for the Middle Creek Restoration project. Right after the property's purchased, it's supposed to have a conservation easement placed on it that would prevent further development.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, then what happened was, what's being investigated or looked at right now is that the grant that was used to purchase the land from the farmers, or the vineyard. Okay, that's what's being that's what's being looked at, which is what is part of the reason that led to the continuance.
Yes, I mean, there's several conditions.
Oh, okay.
There's, you know, supposed to be permission from the state to lease. The wells are supposed to be capped. These properties are all supposed to be completely cleared of all structures and wells, and no further development put on them. They're supposed to be preserved in a conservation easement for wildlife.
Okay.
And so there's quite a number of conditions that need to be met to fulfill the contract.
Or for the funding?
Yes, for the money
A
that
funding
that they
contract.
took and spent by that property.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that,
I mean, but it's potential, where you're
Yeah.
getting money from the Department of Water Resources, and this is, and we're getting other,
Yes.
we still have other money in extension for that.
yeah, there was supposed to be 20% of the purchase price put into a maintenance fund, and the property was supposed to be maintained. So there's a number of things that we, you know, when we checked into, there was no conservation easement, there was no maintenance fund. The wells aren't capped.
Barbara, when you say that there was none, you mean there was no reference to them, those contract points at all?
The Department of Water Resources had no
Knowledge?
a conservation easement filed, on file, you know.
For
And
any of those
so
properties?
all the documentation that we had, we turned over to them.
Okay. So now the state is doing the investigation?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So it's completely out of our hands? And
Absolutely.
So, okay.
Yes, and the last.
That's a huge development.
Yes, it is. It's a very concerning development for a lot of reasons, for a lot of properties, and I don't know. Do you know any more about this?
About what you said, this first.
No, about the, yeah.
Speaking of the mic, let him use the microphone, please.
Put in place.
No, I don't, I'm sure that some of them were, but I don't know what this, yeah, so I'm pretty sure that when we visited on the 17th, it's gonna be something we talk about, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So EJ, were you referencing, sorry, this might be a total can of worms. Feel free to tell me, talk about it another
It
time.
is, but it's fitting, so
Yeah,
let's just get into it.
But that investigate, because that means like if the state's looking into it, then that's like a whole other level. Does
But
that
I-
mean that that any of the funds that were used to purchase property with that grant are now in jeopardy, or just the
I mean,
it's already
that's-
purchased? It's
That's
just,
what it sounds like, but I still don't know who your
Okay.
the contact is or anything, so I can't follow up. I know you do. I'll have to get that from you, or they'll contact me.
My latest
Yeah.
message from them is that they will be in contact with the county.
Okay.
And it-
The state will, the state
It's
will.
in their legal department,
Mm-hmm.
and they will be in contact with the county, and we're hoping there's some way the county can come into compliance on this issue.
Yeah.
And not suffer from it.
In my experience, usually when there's findings like that, they'll give you a certain amount of time to rectify it. So, But that's a huge fine.
Further development on that land. Or any of the land that they purchased. Unless, it actually can fall into certain perimeters of, it's listed here, some agriculture, wildlife refuge, some recreational type, nothing, no structures at all.
even temporary structures?
No construction, I
Okay.
believe. Yeah. So,
Okay. Wow.
and it has to fall into certain categories, and I can't remember exactly what they all are right now.
Thank you.
But it's not manufacturing, I know that.
Nothing's been done yet, and this may be the reason why it may cease to happen. I don't know, but.
I
yeah,
didn't
and
mean to
if I know the contact, I can, know more
Follow up.
myself, but I've been giving contacts from different agencies like Water Resources, and not in your situation, but others, and then also like with Army Corps, and then I call the Army Corps, and they're like, no, that's not true. So, I mean, I've dealt with that. I'm not saying your situation isn't, but I know others have, or there's been different references. So I really want to engage and find out, because if we're in trouble, we're gonna get in trouble for this. I wanna make sure we don't, so,
Would you like me to give them your contact?
yeah,
Okay.
by all means.
And I'm sorry, I did not mean to take over your update, so if you had anything else you wanted to share.
That's it. I mean, I just hope that, sorry, thank you. June 17th, you know, we have up until June 17th to submit comments at this point and letters.
Much better.
And we'll post on Facebook exactly where to send them to make sure that they actually get to the board. And we just hope that people will spread the word that, you know, people need to show up on that date and show their support.
Thank you.
Barbara, I
Thanks.
have a question for you when you're finished. Upon which entity was the obligation to seek the protections and the securement of the property? Was it the Water Resource Board, or is it Scotts Valley, or?
No, this is all pre-Scotts Valley. This took place in 2015, this purchase of this land. And it was a district, which is County of Lake. It was their responsibility
Yeah.
after purchase.
So this is a preceding commitment
Yes.
incumbent upon the Bureau
Yes,
The county.
before the contract was ever entered into with Scotts Valley.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And apparently they weren't aware of it, so they
So
went ahead and released
it's
it.
two separate things, basically.
Yeah,
But it's a result of the work that you have done that it was even found, which is why it's so important to be involved.
so, I guess that's it.
Just for fun, EJ,
Is it gonna
in
be
your
fun?
experience, is there some kind of a master calendar or a tickler file that is county-wide covering all departments and bureaus?
What do you mean by that?
Like
I
where,
don't understand the question.
Like having an alarm on your phone that this is now April 15th, did you file your taxes? Is there some kind of a tickler file countywide to which the different entities need to respond based upon their dealings with state?
Different
entities?
agencies?
Right.
Well, there would essentially be that when it comes to their reports or whatever they're receiving funding for. Unless that's similar to the same funding we're getting for the Middle Creek Restoration purchase, if that's a different funding award, and they've only been reporting on this award, and this is just hypothetical, then they wouldn't know about that one and would have kept moving. But if it's still connected to that one, then there might be an issue. And I get what you're saying. You're saying that the whole county doesn't, like, Water Resources doesn't know Public Works per se.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
they would have to know their own, timelines and timeframes and benchmarks.
So there's no
And-
countywide.
Right, but we all experience now the leaving of various seasoned and experienced personnel at important levels within the county government. And sometimes people are in such a hurry to get out, they may neglect to raise a sufficient warning system. And I'm concerned that at the county level, that the the Board of Supervisors themselves can see that this is coming at, that will affect North Shore and District 3, this is coming up and will affect Cobb, with more of an advance than just, oops. It's like, could we have a warning system that lets us know that we're 6 to 9 months off?
So I can answer something to that effect. When
Yeah.
you're talking about the Middle Creek Restoration,
Right.
Bruno and I put together a committee we were meeting monthly, now we're meeting every other month, but we still try to keep on target with that whole situation.
Right.
Now, whether this property wasn't something we talked about in that meeting per se.
Understood.
So for us to know or find or uncover that or be like, oh, well, we're gonna mess this up, that wasn't on the radar there because we're dealing solely with purchasing the remainder of the properties.
No, I understand. I'm just concerned about there are holes in the radar.
Right, there is. There's holes in the radar because you have a new director where a previous director, and then there was a previous director. Yeah, and so what you're saying is the chain of like passing off, right? Succession. That's the whole ideal about when we hire new people, we want that succession to take place, but when you lose staff, you lose that institutional knowledge. Not an excuse, it's what happens. So you're saying there needs to be a collective
Yes.
I'd like a
Yes,
master
yeah.
calendar.
recording or something
Yeah,
of the like, yeah.
that's what my theory is.
So if there's something that says this procedure has to be done by this particular time, everybody knows it. So that it's not just sort of like the one guy in the closet somewhere who's looking at it, you know, we'll do it.
In theory, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
In practice, with the number of grants that the county has and the different departments and the
We're
number
back
of
to
staff,
square one.
it would probably not even be an effective tool once you overlay every single calendar on there. Just as, like, in my experience, I've managed 5 grants, and when you put 5 grants on the same calendar, it becomes a nightmare to look at. What I do think is a really good point at what you're getting at, and probably not within our purview, but a great conversation to have at the supervisor level, is that this is an indication that there is a succession challenge in county staffing. And what do you do? Because I would imagine if this happened in 2015, this is not any result of malicious intent, but it probably is, you know, people leave and then you forget, and that was someone else's pet project and they took it, and the new person that's coming in is trying to fly by the seat of their pants and figure it out, and then they leave, and then the next person comes in.
Something like this comes up and then it is essentially maliciously kind of used, you know, because you have, you know, a misrepresentation or not a misrepresentation, but a mistake that didn't get taken place, and now the county as a whole, because of whatever was dropped, now this is big, you know.
But I did see, EJ, and I'm wondering if this is a part of it, and I can't remember if this is a previous agenda or a future agenda, but I thought I had seen something about the Lake County supervisors considering restructuring the departments, and with like maybe a CEO type thing. I know that was a closed session, so I don't know how much you can speak to it, but this might be a really powerful part of that conversation for if we do restructure how the county staff are aligned, that they have a mandatory succession built in. So even if they're going to sit in their seat for 10, 15 years, they still have a succession plan, so that if, God forbid, they hit the lotto and they're not coming into work tomorrow, the person that's under them can take the seat and be interim until, you know, and I use the lotto instead of, you know, get hit by a bus, but.
Right. And that was a discussion, but it was actually in a special meeting, so there was a discussion about it, and there's supposed to be something coming up in the near future to discuss that.
Okay.
I just
Is
like,
that a special meeting? Is that closed or is it not
No,
closed?
it wasn't closed when we talked about it.
Oh, okay.
Claudine?
I just wanted to make an overall comment regarding grants and the accountability for them, and, you know, what kind of follow-through do we have when monies are awarded, and where are they going, and what have they accomplished? I would like to see that pursued and answers given.
Or whether the funds have actually accomplished the.
Right.
So
the funds are supposed to-
that would usually be during the workshop that we have at the beginning of the year, and that's a good time for us to address those as well. So like if they don't bring it up, like why didn't you bring it up? Why didn't you use this funding? You know, that's a spot, the budgets are a spot where they're there to give us that information as well, because in the budget, when they talk about it and they give us the, when the department head gives that presentation, which happens next month, basically at the end of the next month, then you'll, on the document that that's in the book, that it's public knowledge, it states what they've done, what they are going to do, and what the, you know, and what benchmarks they hit for grants.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Sorry,
Thanks,
someone.
Thanks, Barbara. You have something else, Barbara? Okay. Yes, sir?
Yeah, this is on.
This is
Yes.
about biochar?
Yes. It
Okay.
is. So I understand what you're talking about with the lack of institutional knowledge and historical context, but as it pertains to this biochar project, from what I can understand and what I've seen, and without getting into too much more detail, this is not a problem that manifested itself because of a loss of institutional knowledge. There were specific conditions that were imposed that had to happen within days or weeks of the transaction that appears to have not occurred. So the people that were involved at the time had the responsibility at the time. The question is, did they follow through as they should have at that time?
Unfortunate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Wait, I think Ms. Moore's actually.
Super clear-cut instructions,
So sorry.
very clear-cut instructions built into the contract
Contract, yes.
of exactly how to report back
Yep.
your progress. And there's supposed to be a steward for that land in contact with the certain contact at Department of Water Resources. But I have a question for EJ. So in your current contracts, are these conditions also in there?
Which contracts?
You're with the Department of Water Resources funding for the Middle Creek Restoration Project to buy the land.
No, I haven't seen those. I've just seen that they do one purchase per property, and then they negotiate a price and go from there. I haven't seen what you're talking about in those.
Oh, okay. You haven't seen that. Huh. Okay. This was a third round of funding that this property was bought, and that extended to 2017, that contract, so.
All right, thank you.
The one we received came from 2022, and it got extended all the way out to 25, 26.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on. Is Liberty Francis here? Ha! No. No Liberty Francis. Well, that was a mistake. Okay. Sorry?
There was a lady that left.
Oh, well, I wouldn't imagine she would have left. She was supposed to do a presentation. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but we're going to move on anyway. We'll move on to item 6, the Upper Lake Grange.
That's me.
That's you, Lisa.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't have, and that might be who left. Jenny was here. I just wanted to give an update on some of the work that's been done. Hi. The Upper Lake Grange, we are working to reorganize it. So Casey Mahoney, Julia and myself met with Jenny Reynolds and some folks from the Willits Grange a couple weeks ago. And we are looking to see if there's interest in reorganizing the Grange. The State Grange is helping with some of the work on getting it up to meeting ready. They did have a meeting there on Sunday, so we're pretty optimistic about that. What that means is that we need to have 13 active members that join the Grange. There are dues and things like that. To get this started, we are looking at a meeting in June. We did request a list of previous members so that we can reach out to folks that were involved previously and ask them if they would be interested in coming back. And then we are also going to be doing some outreach. Once that meeting date is final, I will post it everywhere. But I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware. They've done a lot of work. I know they landscaped. I know they did some cleaning inside of it, and so this is a really awesome resource. I remember the Grange breakfast when I was in high school, and for our the FFA program ran some stuff out of there, and I would love to see that come back. So we're putting the work into that, and if anyone is interested in participating or has any ideas on it, please feel free to reach out to me or Casey, and we'll add your name to the list. I don't know if there's any questions.
There was interest generated via Facebook when the rep from Santa Rosa had come up. So some of the previous participants were interested. So I'm sure they'll come forth if you post it. And
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
What kind of shape is the kitchen in?
So Jenny told me that it's actually in pretty great shape. It only needs minimal work in order to get brought up. It still has to, get inspected and things like that. But she did have someone take a look at it, and it still looks good. So that's one of the first things Case and I talked about is how do we bring back community dinners or community breakfasts, bringing that back, or how, the Easter egg hunt, which is phenomenal, but instead of using my living room, can we use the Grange to do some of the egg stuffing and things like that? So it's really exciting for me. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Could you put that on Upper Lake Connect?
I sure will.
Yeah, that would be a good way to get some volunteers.
Yeah.
I used to eat breakfast there, I can't remember how many years ago, and it was just really fun because you're amongst the community, we're all eating, and the people who were serving was community. It was just really a nice feeling to do that once a month.
Yeah.
But, I just question how many people, would know about it unless it was put out on somehow or other.
Yeah, we plan on making a flyer, posting it everywhere, posting it at the stores, even like different events. I want to sharing it because, like you said, I remember being in my corduroy jacket, hot as all can be, serving pancakes. This was before Ms. Boomer got polos for everyone. She used to make us wear our corduroy jackets.
Some of the cooks were really good.
It was amazing. It was community. It's what we're trying to bring back.
Yeah. I try to put out on Upper Lake Connect about the meetings here when they're happening, because again, I know that it's posted at the post office, but there's some people who don't. You do? Good. I just feel like sometimes you can miss it if it's just out there once, I find sometimes there's different times of the day is a good time to put it out there. The moms are either picking up their kids so they don't get it when it came out or whatever. But I think this meeting here once a month is really good. I just started going to it a couple months ago, and this is where you do find out what's going on, So I think it's good that we actually market it to death to let people know that they can come here, and it's also for North Shore people besides Upper Lake. So we find out a lot of stuff here, and if you live in town, it's not that far away and it's not that inconvenient to come. So that's it. I use Upper Lake Connect to try to market everything.
Yeah.
I don't think I reach everybody in Upper Lake because a lot of people don't do Facebook, but maybe more posters out, or I don't know if there's other types of communicating venues, but
we've had some conversations about that. I think we're right along. We're thinking along the same line.
1 second, Rick.
Liberty reached out and said she had an appointment in Sacramento and was trying to get here.
Oh, can you text her back and say, cool, thanks?
Lisa, I just have a question. I know that during the nearing close of the, the previous group that had, had it up and running, there was an issue about insurance. Do you know, can you answer that as to it was an extreme amount of insurance to keep the facility open and running?
That's a great question that I will ask specifically, that wasn't specifically talked about, but one of the things that we did ask is, how much does it cost to run? Because, the State Grange can get us up and going, but if the monthly costs are too high,
Right.
They're like the power bill is $50 a month. I was like, yeah, that's gonna be for 5 minutes just because the building's closed. But that is one thing that I did not ask. I know that the property taxes are relatively low, and they're gonna give us like a budget of like how much everything else costs. But I'll ask specifically about
Because
that.
with insurance costs as they are, and you're going to be opening it to the public, you'd have to have a liability that would cover any potential problems.
They were taking care of insurance and taxes.
Yeah, Julius. Sorry. They did say that, thank you. They're taking care of it right now, but eventually we will have to run on our own, so, and when I asked, sorry, the question was, didn't they say in our meeting that they're taking care of insurance and property
They
taxes?
being the state Grange.
Yes, ma'am.
Who, we have a original Grange member here in the audience. My recollection from that meeting was, yes, in fact, the state Grange has been paying property taxes and insurance, cleaning it up, and in fact, regarding the kitchen, didn't she say it could be used as is, but something limited? I don't remember what the limitation was.
Yeah. I'll get those exact figures to you though, because that is correct. I was surprised because what I had heard is the Grange needs all this work, the Grange needs this, the Grange needs that. But then when we met, it didn't seem like it needed that much to get up and running. It was more manpower that is needed. So that's what we're hoping to do, is to inspire and see, you know, how many folks have the time. You know.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the District 3 combination meeting.
That's also me.
All right,
So this was, if you remember from our last meeting, and I apologize for the coughing, it's allergies. You can see the pollen in the air.
Yep.
But at our last meeting, Holly had mentioned possibly an alliance between
Earth, Worth, and Surth.
Earth, Surth, and Worth, to kind of combine manpower. And at the end of that meeting, if you were here, you'll remember Thomas and myself were selected as delegates to go have a conversation to see what that might look like. And so we did meet. We actually met a couple times. And the takeaway or some of the thoughts is Holly had put together a really robust list of action items that could be tackled or that might be similar from area to area, such as trash cleanup, such as the scenic highway or conservation efforts. And in that meeting, she gave us the list and we were kind of like, what are we gonna do? And so what we suggested, or what I suggested, was that we do a community survey, and the survey is gonna be brief, and it's gonna ask a couple questions. One is, does the communities of the Earth, the Surth, and the Worth want us to combine forces? If the community members think it's a good idea, of course, you know, where are you located? What municipality are you in? And then it has the list, like broad list that Holly created, and we're asking the community to rank it, to tell us where we should put our energy because we have limited manpower. So this is an online survey. I created it using Google Forms. And the first, if we agree to do this initiative, we would need
to do the survey.
So the first step would for the Earth and the Surth, I believe, have agreed to do this alliance. They voted, they've passed the action, they've voted to do this initiative. So it's put before us today. I think we need an action for if we are going to participate. If we participate, the first step would be the community survey.
Okay. So, as I understand it, we are here to say that we want to sign up to the idea of a super MAC, if you will.
Okay, to start the process of building one, essentially.
Okay, but I mean, this obviously, we're still going to be individual
Yes.
MACs, right?
Yes, we are not.
And it's going to be like we meet once a quarter or twice a year or something like that to whatever? What's the idea?
So the idea is to hear from the community what the community wants.
But I thought we were kind of doing that already.
No. No, that's, so what we're talking about today, because there's a big picture, the big picture one is this idea of this alliance, this combined alliance.
The Super MAC.
For today, we want to discuss if we want to,
Sign on to that.
yes, sign on to starting, like the planning, the research and planning phase, which would be this community survey.
Okay.
Do we agree, like we can launch the survey, send it out and all that? Yes, Julia?
Hang on. No. Yeah, thank you, Julie.
Julia Carrera, Upper Lake. My understanding was there was meetings between you and Thomas, Holly and Angela, and Aaron, and is it Betsy? And you guys were going to meet and discuss stuff. I go to all the meetings. I've never heard a motion, but maybe I missed something.
Of the other MACs?
Yeah. So I'm just confused.
To initiate this process?
We did meet and have those process. I do have emails.
What came from that meeting? That's what I'm interested in learning. Thank you.
Yep. So what came from that meeting is the survey that I just discussed.
As the first step.
Yes, the first step is what came from, we had 2 meetings. The first meeting was introductions and what is it that we think we could do. In that meeting, I suggested that we ask the community. And then the second meeting, I had developed a survey that with the intention of proposing to share that with our respective communities to hear from the community members themselves what are the important issues and if the community wants us to combine forces. And
Was that sent out?
No.
no, it was not.
We're talking about doing that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, so I have a strange question, maybe. And it's basic, has to do with the structure of the MACs. Whether there's any hindrance to the MACs forming this super MAC legally. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I think we asked it last time.
You did?
But EJ's.
Told me there
Yes.
isn't. You're not even meeting like in a Brown Act capacity because you have 2, 2, and 2. And you haven't really even came out with formal decisions, right? There hasn't been anything
No.
formal. The goal of this, and if you guys choose not to, it's your choice, but the goal of this is take the most ideal issues that you deal with here, and that Lucerne's dealing with, or CERT is dealing with, and Earth is dealing with.
The common issues.
Yes, it doesn't take away from what you're doing here. Won't ever. 'Cause
Well,
you're
it's not,
still-
that,
right.
I wasn't worried about that. It was just a question of whether there's some sort of, the MACs gotta be separate and they can't work together or something like that. I'm not saying there is, I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
curious.
you would just be meeting either quarterly or biannually saying, hey, you know what?
Yeah,
We are having a problem with, I don't know.
Whatever.
The Dark Skies Initiative too. We're tired of it ourselves. I'm making that up, so I'm just using it as an example. And it's hurting us too because of this. It's just like, let's see, universal garbage. You know, like some folks in each district are saying the same things. We need universal garbage. We need universal garbage. Because it's been said in all 3 MACs, it's been something that now county directors or,
So do you think in that sense, if we were all on the same page, putting forth a little, our input, that would be better than having a bunch of separate people doing it?
Well, it doesn't, it just helps with the common goals.
Plus it makes you don't have to listen to 3 groups, you only have to listen to 1.
No. No, it doesn't take, you're gonna stay as, I don't intend, as long as I'm supervisor, you're gonna have a MAC. No matter what, even if all of you despise me and do what CERT, or what was it called? Lath did to me, I mean, I still kept them, I kept the town hall there. it's important to have these, just like, I really appreciate what the lady said over here about having this. It's informative, it's your meetings, but it's only to help with the supervisors to make decisions, especially hearing some of the things when it comes to the contracts that we've made. And Barbara had mentioned that we missed some of those from old agreements, right? And so that we're looking at these contracts better. There's been concerns when I got on with another supervisor about waivers of bidding and things like that. This gives you all a chance to, say, hey, these contracts are getting through, why? And then finding out maybe those are the reason, so this gives us a chance to hear collective concerns from the community. And what I've heard talked about as well is looking at math and BVAC and all these other places having one too. So eventually all of them coming together. But it doesn't have to take away from what you're doing, and it doesn't have to even happen.
It's also to share best practices. And Julia, to your earlier point, just because you had mentioned you attend the meetings, I did not attend the meetings. So Holly had sent an email saying that they had accepted it, that their town hall had agreed to it. Austin said the same. I believe they might have done it differently, but I believe at our last meeting, our chair actually said that we needed to have a motion whether or not to accept it. I don't know if that's the same for previous ones. So that might be why I had heard you said you didn't hear a motion and things, but just to clarify.
I think it was informal.
Yeah, I think they were doing a little more informal, but I think at our last meeting we had said, yeah. And to Ms. Sherry's point, some of the things, just even the two meetings, talking amongst ourselves, we've learned so much about how different areas are communicating. I already forgot, with the Earth, they have a website that they share and they post stuff on. And so that might be something we could consider launching to get more information out, or to have a community calendar. And then Surf, they had an issue about their agendas that we, the Worth and the Earth, were like, we don't have that issue. This is how we handle that. So even just the communicating to other folks in the community that are trying to do community work, we're able to, iron sharpens iron, we're able to get better and do more. So I am strongly believe that we should do this. And I think that the first step of asking our community what they want, because yes, we have regulars, like tonight looks like it's a regular meeting where the folks that are going to be here are here. But I wonder, what about the folks that can't make it to these meetings? What do they think? What do they want that's important?
We would definitely like to hear from the people who would like to be here but can't for one reason or another.
Exactly. So that is, and maybe I'll just push us along and move that.
I
Sorry,
just,
go ahead.
Claudia?
yeah, I had, at last meeting when this was presented, I had asked that we be informed as to what was going on, between the coming together of the.
Between what the other Max are saying?
Right, just kind of a report, right.
They seem that they've
And,
agreed to do
this concept was brought forth by Gene Polino back on the inception of the Worth back in 2017. He thought that communicating between the three different regional, it was very important. Yeah, so.
Advisory Council.
Yeah, that there be communication. So I just, I would like to be informed as to what, how things are going and.
Yeah. Thomas did send an email with an update earlier this week, and we will continue doing that as if everyone's in agreement, we'll continue doing.
Well, does anyone want to make a motion to proceed with this procedure?
You're talking about the survey?
We're gonna. The procedure is to set up this super MAC. That's what we're heading for. The first step would be this survey. So if we say that we agree with the idea of creating this super MAC, then the survey would be the next step. So if we want to join with the other MACs, that's what we're going to decide right now.
So are we talking about a subcommittee Lisa and whoever else is keen for this, to meet and discuss the language that we would want to put forth on the survey?
No, the survey's already been developed. I think we might be overthinking it.
Oh.
What
One,
we are,
one moment, didn't you email the questions on the survey?
Thomas did, yeah.
Okay, Thomas did that.
emailed
It's in
the
your
questions.
email somewhere.
I didn't get it.
You probably did, you just might not have seen it. Okay.
So I'll just make the motion. I move that we enter the planning phase for this D3 Alliance with the MRF and the SURF and launch a community survey with Thomas and myself as the representatives.
A point, and this has to be unanimous at this point, because we don't have any extra people here tonight. So, we have a motion to proceed with this.
I'll second the motion.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion, we are in agreement then to
And I
go
will
forward.
resend everything so that you are aware.
It may have come in, I didn't see it.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, thank you. So do we have anything to discuss about that? Not really, do we?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, subcommittee reports, Pile Road. Does Pile Road have anything? Okay. Dave? Yes.
Glasses problem. I'm Dave Hendrick, co-chair. I wanted to introduce the other people in my group, Joanne Maxwell and Dana Bell and Mike Bell.
Raise your hands, please.
We had a meeting on Monday with Thomas, and we went through a number of things. At any rate, the latest updates, they just sound like they're repeats of last month. Marcus, I emailed him, and he said they are reviewing the road conditions to determine if they can tow RVs in and out and other aspects of the logistics to abate the violations. The code officer is preparing a warrant to do so. They have an email to the contractor to determine the status of being able to remove it. Now, I know they can move it because this week they dragged a trailer in and out of there, and I have photographic evidence of them dragging this trailer in and out and dumping it up on top of the hill. Code is also...
Or illegal dump. Was this the county, or was this some
Oh, no, it's Cody, the guy who lives in the field across has been there illegally for 3 years.
So this
Dave,
is an illegal dump?
Yeah.
Dave, is Cody running some sort of disposal business or something? Getting rid of old RVs? I mean, why would he even bother to do that?
I have no idea.
That's
It was this other guy who is either Robbie or Bobby. He's told me 2 different names. He has a big black truck, and they apparently dragged it over to Cody's, and then dragged it out of Cody's, and then dragged it down someplace else, and then dragged it up onto the hill and dumped it.
So somebody's making money out of this. I mean, there's no way you wouldn't do that? I mean, unless you were really good friends with somebody.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Well, probably they did a drug deal or something.
But that means they're running an illegal business. And that's another whatever, misdemeanor or something.
Well, you can't get code enforcement to show up there anyway.
Business taxes, whatever.
You can't get code enforcement to do anything anyway. Anyway, they supposedly, I ran into Joey Valdez, and today up at the other dump site, we call it Cody's dump site on Main Street, because we found evidence of him having dumped there before. But I ran up into him, and he's putting up game cameras up there, and so they can get pictures of people dumping. So hopefully that will amount to something. And I asked him about the situation, and he said as far as he knows, they're waiting on a judge's signature to clean up 4 other dump sites on Pile Road and in that area. So there is stuff going on. It's just not happening anywhere near as fast as we would like. There's just way too much of it. And today I was up there and I turned down a road I don't usually go down, and I was blocked by another motorhome in there. And I turned it into code, and I told Logan about it, and I told Joey about it, and they were both going to go up and look today. Okay. Mike, do you have anything you want to say?
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, I'm Mike Bell. I have a place off of Hamilton there, just 5 blocks in from Pile Road. And on Johnson Avenue, that's my back road that goes up behind my place. I have full city block almost on the backside. And we get traveling for Cody's place going up through there. I maintain the roads there. In fact, Dave and myself maintain about 5 roads for traffic for the people that live there. We're getting...
Mike, can I interrupt you for a second? When you say you maintain the roads, what exactly does that entail?
That entails us rocking the roads, maintaining the chuck holes, in the roads, keeping,
But these are basically dirt roads, right?
Yes, they are. We're
Okay.
on gravel roads.
Okay, so you're
The county
you're
doesn't
grading
take
them and
care
stuff
of
like
it.
that?
It's
Okay.
private homeowners. We put out
Okay.
a couple grand a year, each year, to keep these things up. And
So basically, these are private roads?
they're called private roads, but they're what they call paper streets.
Paper street, okay.
Yes.
What exactly does that mean?
The county don't take care of them. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it was a private road, the county wouldn't have to maintain it.
Well, they call them private roads, but we can't block them off or anything because they're still.
They
as a
have
city
access
road.
points to other
They're-
places.
They're basically a city street,
Okay,
but they don't maintain it.
okay, thank you.
So anyway, we have Cody. We've been 3 years. We had him at the meeting here with Leland, his grandfather. Basically, when they bought this piece of property, they came to the meeting, and I told them, you got to get a permit for the health department. Go to the county and for building permits to move in. There is no water, there is no electricity, and there's no sewer up there. Yet they moved a trailer in the night after they were at this meeting here 3 years ago. Moved a 32-foot trailer, 30-foot trailer in, pulled it right up there and put it on the property. They fenced it basically off. Now we have at least 3 other couples up there or more is moved in the last, 2 months, 3 months? So they brought in a Toyota truck camper. They living in cars up there, and there's no restrooms. There's nothing. Health department won't, we've been to the health department 5 or 6 times. Code enforcement's tagged them, but they haven't been able to take them out. But I have more traffic there than you have in Highway 20 anymore. And I mean, basically, we got, 5 new cars going up there now? Since the last week and a half. And they have fires out there. They're not permitted for fires. So, they bottle their water in. I don't know what they're doing for the health department end of it. So we've been all the way around. So we just want to pass the saying, we're trying to get these guys to do the right thing, get permits, put a septic tank up there at least, This stuff is going in our lake when it rains. So just letting you know, we're not getting as much action as we thought we should have, but it's happening a little at a time. And I thank the group that got into garbage and pickups for the, Lucerne and Nice. That went over really good. They took in 60 ton for the first day, and I think 90 ton the second day. And then Lucerne, how much did they bring in? You remember? About the same?
No, it's 110 in Lucerne the first time, and then 110 for all of them.
So this grant we received, for us showing places where this places need to be cleaned up.
So that was
This grant really helped
410 for the whole North Shore?
Yeah.
Tons.
Tons of it. Tires on the side of the road, we was able to bring them in, we took in 4 truckloads the first week, and I wasn't able to go to the...
Of tires, of tires.
Tires, building supplies, carpets, you name it. We just picked it up off the road. People that, couldn't make it. Dave and I went up to some friends of his, couldn't take the stuff because they don't have a truck, so we went and picked up their stuff and took it down ourselves. So.
For the dump.
But it turned out to be really good, grant for everybody, so. That's all I gotta say. We just like to try to get some of this stuff taken care of with Cody. They always have, they have a lot of fights and stuff up there. They party until 1 in the morning. And also bonfire up until 1 in the morning sometimes.
Thank you, Mike. Kate, you want to say something? Get into the microphone.
The frequency of the fires are, I'm assuming that you guys have been reporting them to North Shore. And North Shore has said what specifically?
They're warming fires.
Okay.
Can we repeat that or?
Yeah, hang on. Either come or...
So sorry,
He'll be
everyone.
the microphone.
Spaced out, sorry.
They say they're warming fires, but we know that.
Which means that's like a health thing, right? You got to let people get warm. Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
but that's not what they're doing. They have parties all the time. There's yelling and screaming and loud music all the time.
Have you ever actually done a full-scale video of them doing their thing?
No, 'cause
Rather
we don't want to
than-
get that close.
Well,
They're
telephone
scary.
lens,
But if the fires ever get away, my house is gonna be the first one.
Yeah, she's the closest one.
Yeah. Well, what's the difference between a warming fire and an out-of-control fire?
Well, they cook outside once in a while, but I'm just saying, they burn all their garbage up there when they're supposed to be permitted. Well, as May 1st, no permits are put out. And right now, we're in fire season. We already had fire here at the casino going up the hill. So, Dave, he's got pictures where they've had the campfire at least 5 to 6 feet high. From his house, he could see it. So, I mean,
Wants it right here.
I would like to know, Ray Frederick, Upper Lake. I would like to know, I see on social media, the city of Clear Lake has a group of people that go in and clean. It's CC4 Clear Lake. And it seems like they have no problem in taking volunteers. I just watched, they cleaned up 2 streets. I forget what they were, 3rd and 4th. And they actually go in and they have volunteers with trailers and stuff to go in. I don't know if the city of Clear Lake is helping them fund that, because it seems like we over here on Pile Road, this has been going on for years, where I see that this people over in Clear Lake have just started it maybe the last 2 years. And it seems like that there's no problem with them getting their garbage picked up, but we seem to have a problem over here. Now,
As far as like a volunteer
as
pickup.
far as volunteers coming out and cleaning it up, the city of Clear Lake, I've never really got into it, but does the city of Clear Lake Public Works Department go in there and help? Because I've seen pictures of a company that hauls the garbage and they bring in their backhoes and they haul out trailers, and it seems like
You think somebody's contracting them to do it?
well, they are, because you can see the names. I forget the name of the company that's hauling it out. But it would seem like this is an ongoing health problem now, that the county should have something with the health department to go to these people and fine them to the point where they can't afford it the second time. It's like it signs on the freeway, $1,000 if you get caught littering.
Yep.
Who
gets caught?
Who gets caught?
Yeah.
Okay? It just, I just want to know, is there any way the county health department can get involved? Or I know they probably have.
There's an administrative fine portion to what code enforcement, that's why, when you're saying this, I'm not understanding why he's not given administrative fines for the violations, because that's like literally the whole point of some of the data ticket that we just approved recently and an ordinance that had to do with administrative fines. So those things are in place so they can be fined. There is that. Plus, CC4C, they actually ended up they were part of like a Caltrans grant or something like that. That's how they were able to work with CNS Waste. That's actually what was the model that we used in Lucerne for Clash Against Trash. They parked at the Lucerne Castle, and when they did those dump days, it was because CC4C worked with them and did that. Now, the one that Cal Recycle's doing now is a little different because they're using a different vendor or a different contractor. But while you were saying that, there is some volunteers that came out and helped, and I was going to talk about that when I give my report. So I'll get further into that, but it's the same concept. You know, having volunteers that just go to Pile Road and just the same way that CC4C, because they not only do the town of Clear Lake or the city of Clear Lake, they also do like Sulphur Bank Road and whatnot. So that's not out of the question. And if there's a nonprofit conducting this work, there's a partnering that can happen with the county. So I think that's where we really need to start. At least if we can't get the help as fast as we need it from code, like we're asking, or from the sheriff's department to get some of these folks arrested, because I remember they were looking for Cody one time and they found him at Manzanita or something like that, and then I don't want to even get into that conundrum, but the bottom line is the garbage and the presence, right?
So
Also, for it to be considered a warming fire, doesn't it have to go a certain degree? Like, doesn't the weather have to be under a certain degree?
No, it doesn't. It could be literally the summer, like July 31st heat. You know, it literally can, because I remember there was. Well, there was and the reason I know this is because in Lucerne there was a death, and someone had like a fire. They were doing a ceremonial fire, but it was in the town, and they came to go address it, but they said technically it's a warming fire. But again, you know, there's some verbiage sometimes that can.
where do you draw the line?
And that's the thing, you know. So that's what makes it difficult, is the warming fire statement, you know.
I'm cold. Okay.
Well, they have camping here, and they won't push it.
They won't put.
Yeah, there's a camping ordinance on any streets. And 17 years ago, when we moved up here, we had some guys looking at 3 lots down the street from us. And they spent the night, but they weren't quite on the property. They got fined $175 for being camping on the street. That was right there on Lincoln.
Okay.
But they don't do that today.
Not enough people.
So, but I mean, the object is,
When was that?
that was 2010, 11. When I first built the house up here on Hamilton, they had some people growing weed up there, and they brought some water tanks in. And so I went to the county and health department, said, hey, there's no restroom or nothing up there. And since I'm building my new place, they came out of there, went up there, and they were out in a week and a half. Okay, now since then, they won't do it anymore. There's other things that happened since COVID, so I don't know what's happening. Now, like I said, instead of just 2 people up there, we got 6 or more living up there in cars and stuff now. And they're just moving in like a little commune. Right. So,
All right. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks, EJ. We're going to move on. Ray, are you ready for the Upper Lake? You're going to make your request. Two statements.
Ray Frederick from Upper Lake. On our agenda paperwork, under subcommittees, B, it says Upper Lake Traffic Safety. I would like the committee to change that to Upper Lake School Safety, because
School traffic safety?
School traffic safety.
Schools traffic safety.
Right, because the way it's worded, it looks like 3 people are taking care of the whole town of Upper Lake on people running up and down Main Street 100 miles an hour. And this all started with the schools
Yes.
on the speed limit, crosswalks, speed bumps and all that. And then all of a sudden, one day, it turned out to be Upper Lake traffic safety.
Well, I think originally, I don't remember that it was ever said specifically about schools, but
Right.
it might,
No,
should-
it
it
Well,
might-
we've been-
It was originally, it was, we were speaking about the school safety.
We might have to look at the
Specific,
minutes.
yeah, it was, it was.
So that's my first comment,
Yes.
if we could change that. My second comment is, for the last 3 years, I've been complaining about having the county put in a stop sign on Middle Creek and Second Street. And they keep telling me they have to do a road survey, a study, traffic study. Well, 2 weeks ago, somebody T-boned a car out there. And it's all on Facebook, showed the car running the stop sign, T-boning the car. I don't remember if it flipped the car over, but the car was in really bad shape.
It was bad, yeah.
Well, other days go by and you see other people saying that big black truck ran the stop sign, and here's your bird and all this stuff. Something's got to be done about putting in that intersection a three-way stop.
all right,
There's one stop-
I believe next month, we're gonna have Glenn
Mr.
March
March is
here,
supposed to be here.
and he controls the traffic safety thing, right?
Well, it doesn't matter if it's Glen Mars,
Yeah,
if
no,
it's this,
no.
this, this.
Yeah, I understand, I
Something's
understand.
got to be done, and just like I say, something's got to be done before somebody gets killed.
Yes,
And then it's going to go back to saying, if you look at all the minutes from this meeting, this group of people, about Ray Frederick bitching about stop signs, okay? And it seems like nothing ever comes from it, a traffic survey. Well, this gentleman across the street here, he was complaining about putting a stop sign on First.
Tony Oliveira,
Okay?
yeah.
Well, the county put out a rubber strip across that street 2 days after he made the comment. Okay? So this is a business owner making the complaint. So that was popped in right then, a couple days later, where Joe Blow Public wants to put a stop sign in, and it takes forever.
We still didn't get a stop sign.
You still didn't get one.
And cars,
I know where you're at.
Friday through Sunday.
I know where you're at.
And
Microphone, please, microphone, please. Give me the microphone.
10 cars every day on the weekend that are going 50 to 55 miles an hour down the street. And I was just hoping if there was a
Which
stop
street
sign
is this?
that would at least
Main
slow
Street.
people down. But because there's no stop sign, they just go zooming right through town. The motorcycles go zooming right through the town. And, you know, there's stop signs on either side of Main Street, but there's none on Main Street. There should be like a four-way stop, honestly. And the owner of my landlord, who owns the building, has gone to the county several times, and that's why we had a speed strip put across to see the traffic. And naturally, maybe there's not as much traffic going that fast when the speed strip was out for a couple of days. But, you know, it does happen regularly. I'm surprised there isn't somebody killed there, because it's not only that they don't slow down at the intersection, you know, you're supposed to go 25 miles an hour down this street. But people generally go about 35. But there are some that are definitely going 50, 55 because they think they're cool speeding down the street. And it's just amazing to see that happen. I think a stop sign would at least give the sheriff a chance to, you know, arrest these people.
All right, well, I think basically, we should bring these things up next month.
Right, and I just wanted to say that school is commencing as of the 5th of June. As far as the stop sign and the no right turns only, no left turns, it is not, there's no observation of it. And there's going to be building at the elementary, and you know, right now it's very busy with trucks going in and out. And I'm not going to give up on the school's responsibility to bring about safety as far as the cars and the kindergarten space there. It's unbelievable what is going on. And you know, I'm hopeful that maybe when Mr. March comes, he can listen to some of the issues. But The speed in this town is reckless, and people have got to, there must be something done, because there's going to be an incident, and I agree with Ray that that sign is necessary, and, we just have to keep pushing for safety in this community.
All right, thank you, Claudine.
He's waiting for a minute.
All right, thank you. Hit the button.
Yeah, Tom Lasik. I think there's a way forward here. Some of you may or may not know, I attend all of the advisory council meetings along with my wife. So the issue with roads is the most common thing. The challenge that Mr. Marsh has is that for him to do it according to the standard process, he has to get an engineer, which means he's got to hire one. Then he's got to do the survey, and he's got to do all of these things, and depending on where you are on the list, will determine if and when he ever gets to that. And that's the frustration that I hear in this advisory council and that I hear in several others. However, there is a way forward, potentially, and that is Chair Crandall, if he can impose what's called an emergency ordinance that would direct DPW to put in for the purposes of safety.
Like a temporary thing?
Well, there's emergency ordinance capability that exists that the state allows counties to do, particularly for states of emergency. An emergency ordinance is essentially, I think, the right term. And what that will allow is for the particular safety measures that are of concern of the area. They can direct the Department of Public Works to go ahead and put those in while the study is being performed.
Yes.
And then it has to be reviewed every 60 days or 180 days. And if and when a report and study comes out and it confirms that, say in this case a stop sign is warranted, then great. But if it comes out that no, it's not, then it gets pulled. But for the purposes of safety, there is a way forward, and I'd be more than happy to draft an ordinance to.
I think, again, this would be a good thing to bring up next month when Director Marsh is here.
However, and I see Julia's hand, but if that is possible, Supervisor Crandall, that might be something to do now, because
Yes.
I saw the accident. I drove right on 2nd, right after the accident happened, and it was bad. It is by the grace of everything that's holy that someone did not die that day. And so, because that accident just happened, I wonder if it would make sense to look into that now, instead of waiting for a month.
So I would be more than happy to draft an ordinance to give to Chair Crandall.
Well, you have to speak to Supervisor Crandall about drafting ordinance.
Well, I can draft it and mail it, and then you fill in the blanks, and then you can decide, what makes sense.
Well, you might be able to speak to Supervisor Crandall about that.
We did emergency ordinances before, like for COVID and things like this. The rec and others do warrant
So you think
emergency,
this sounds like a reasonable sort of thing to pursue?
It's done all over the state when you have a land.
Well, yeah,
sale.
I'm not disputing that.
But the only thing is you need a 4/5 vote for an emergency ordinance.
yeah.
But at the same time, that's where it's at.
That's right,
I'm
we
bringing
have
it
the data
forward.
now.
Do we have pictures of the debris and the events around this accident on Second Street? I'm sorry? All right, can we codify that as part of the presentation to go with this request for emergency ordinance?
Well, I can be more than happy to come up with language and mail it to whomever would like to see it. I'd be more than happy to mail it to Chair Crandall.
But we're a very visual group. And
Yes.
when Dave Hendricks finally put together
That would be the content to show to the board the need for the emergency.
on the theory that if it bleeds, it leads, I'd like to see as much graphic material accompany your emergency
Great.
proposal.
Just email Chair Crandall.
All right.
Yeah, she's been waiting.
Thank you. Julia Carrera, Upper Lake. If you recall the Main Street issue, Sherry, there was a petition. The traffic engineer was still, we don't have one currently, there's not one on staff, that position is open. He was still in place, and he said that it does not warrant a stop sign. His recommendation at that time was to put a dead end at Main Street there at Mendenhall, because what he saw was that people were using Main Street as a pass-through instead of Mendenhall. And I live on Main Street. They go 55, 65 miles an hour around that turn. They have damaged the storm drain system by falling into the ditches. They run over animals. I've watched one child get almost hit twice. I think it's a dead-end street at Main Street that's the solution to the problem. And that's what the prior traffic engineer said. Thank you.
All right.
Just one more thing about the schools.
Okay.
In my opinion, we have a new school building that was put in 3 years ago, and there's no parking in the parking lot for parents. Here's my suggestion. On the new school buildings that are being put in, they should make a teacher parking lot back there, so the teachers don't park where the parents are supposed to park. And I know that the teachers park there because I know a few teachers, and you see their car right out front, right where a parent should be parking. And if they take the 15 teachers, or how many they have, park in a teacher's parking lot, that would give a little bit more room, because sooner or later there's going to be two women out there just beating the shit out of each other because they can't get in to get their kids.
Well, that, Ray, that's the big problem. I already asked about relocating the teachers. There's no room. I've already, been through that. But one of the major problems is that these parents are not observing the red line, that they stop their cars, they get out, they go get their kids.
They park in handicap.
Bottlenecks
Yep.
everything. And the other issue is that there wasn't enough, a real clearance. When you're coming down 2nd Street and it's time for school recess, the cars are there. You have to veer over the yellow line to proceed down 2nd Street. So there was improper planning all the way around. And I see this throughout this county, that there is not proper planning for people in cars. And it's very unfortunate.
Now, I know these are young kids, but do they have volunteer police patrolling schools out here?
No.
No, not crossing guards.
Crossing guard?
No, not a crossing guard,
Like a safety
school
patrol.
cop.
Yeah, they used to have.
Back in
those
my
years
day,
ago,
they used to have a sheriff in Whittier. They used to have a Whittier PD, plainclothes
so a real
walk the
law
campus and give tickets.
Resource officers,
Is
yeah.
that what they call them?
Right.
Do they have them up here?
Yes, but
Why
they're managing all 3 campuses. But again, the congestion, I bring it up every board
Is
meeting.
that through the county or the school?
What?
Are they hired by the school or the
Yes,
county?
yeah, yes. It's
Couldn't they
a
put
mutual.
another one on?
Well, it's the
then-
financial, situation, but, I agree, as we expand, we've got to do more to provide safety for those students, because my fear is that something is going to happen, and it's going to be, a very sad event, because safety is just not being practiced down there at all, so.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to change the name of the Upper Lake Traffic Safety to the Upper Lake School Traffic Safety?
I don't think we need a motion because if I recall correctly, the original motion was for school safety.
That was, so it should say Upper Lake School Traffic Safety.
Right,
Okay.
that's what it's been.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll make that change, and I apologize for that. Could have been me, I don't know. All right. So, do we have anything about the levies tonight?
Excuse me.
Hi, Julia Carrera, Levy Subcommittee Chair. I was going to introduce our other 2 members who left because
Too late?
they left at 10 to 7,
Yeah.
so there was no confusion about who the committee members are. We have nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia.
Supervisor Crandall, do we have an update on who's taking lead on the project since Angela left?
I thought it was Linda, but
Linda Nissen?
yeah. No, Linda, you're talking about the Caltrans? Is that what you're talking
Am I
about?
saying the right name, Julia?
I think you're talking
The
about the
Caltrans mitigation plan?
Yeah.
Oh, for the.
Yeah.
for
From
the
what I
chlorine.
understand it, Chris was initially briefed about it, but Linda is working with him on it. So I think it's a team deal.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
So we're ready for the supervisor's report, if there's anything the supervisor would like to report?
well, I'll come over here.
I'll take one.
You take this one.
Thanks.
You mentioned a couple of things that I wanted to. All right, so I'm glad you talked about the dump because that's what I was going to bring up. So far, there's 410 tons as a result of the Cal Recycle grant. And then since 2023, when we did the Lucerne, it's a total of 470 tons. Since 2023, we've got out of the North Shore. Now, I remember we talked here about doing Upper Lake. So I think it's one of the things where they're going that way right now towards Clear Lake Oaks. There's going to be another dump on the 31st of this month and then the 7th at the Moose Lodge. So they'll be doing the same thing they've done at Nice, Lucerne, and at Clear Lake Oaks. I think for us, I can either A, contract with the same group or work with the same group that's doing that here in Upper Lake, and I want to make sure you all decide a spot. And so I'm thinking about a spot, and I'm thinking either the Upper Lake Park, because it's a spot where you can get in and get garbage dumped, or if you just want to do it right at Pile Road. I mean, it's still in Nice, but it's in Nice, but at the same time, it's kind of like one of those, it is Upper Lake, is it Nice? I don't know, but sometimes, I know that on Hammond Avenue, they use that address as Upper Lake. You know, so I mean, I think that you all just need to tell me if you want to do it at Pile Road, or we do one at Upper Lake Park and one at Pile Road and consider that the Upper Lake, you know, clash against trash, if you will. I don't mind. I want to do that because you guys did talk about that before. What about us? So, yeah.
Good. And, you know, one of the issues I think I discussed with you, that there are seniors that are housebound that would like to utilize that opportunity but have no means to, you know, physically lift things into a truck.
And that's why I'm glad that you mentioned that, because when we did the others recently, we were able to get some volunteers that came forward. There's at least 6 different trucks with trailers on them. Myself and another county worker, Vance Ricks, we go around to those homes. We get them signed up. And the one that I'm talking about with you all, I'm going to see if code enforcement will do this one. If they can't, I don't know their capacity because I know they're still following the grant. I may not be able to use the Cal Recycle grant for your dump day. If I can, I will. But I don't want to commit them to something, you know, that they may not be doing till next year or whatever. I just don't want you all to miss out on one. So if I have to do it the way I did the Lucerne, I'll do it, you know, so. But I remember last year, you were, especially you, Claudia, and you're like, we didn't get one. When are we going to get one? So, yeah, that's what I want to make sure of. So, I mean, do you guys think Pile and Upper Lake, or both Pile or both Upper Lake Park? I mean,
I would definitely say, yeah, both if we can, but I would definitely want at least one at Upper Lake Park, because while Pile might technically be considered, you know, the park is at least Upper Lake proper. Not, proper's not the right word, but like, you know.
Well, we need to think about Saratoga
Use it, get
Springs and
Julia.
Blue Lakes and
Let Julie have the microphone, thank you.
And we need to think about Blue Lakes and Saratoga Springs and all that area. You know, Pile Road's too far from there, so one would definitely have to be at the park because of them.
So, yeah, so I would assume that the closer you get to Upper Lake, the better it would be, because we had that sort of major one in Nice.
I'm just thinking Pile Road for sure, because just having them right there so everyone's nearby and they have to bring their garbage out there, but people can just be in that area to clean up some of the areas. I'm not trying to exclude Upper Lake or Blue Lakes or anyone, just saying Pile Road would be ideal. Yeah. Go ahead, Ray.
If we have it at both, will you do it in the same month period? One at the first, one at the end?
You can do that.
Okay, my question is, if you have it over at the park, I think you've had a collection there at the park before.
I haven't.
I
They've had
remember
hazmat
I remember
ones
back
there.
in the fire days, my company I used to work for, that retired, they put dumpsters over there for Upper Lake, Nice, Lucerne homeowners to go dump their freezer garbage. Well, that ended up being really funny because nobody watched it at night, so Joe Blow Roofing dumped there, and the contractor that's building the house, they dumped in there. But anyway, if you put something like that in the park, you're gonna have to have skid steers or a backhoe to pick the garbage up to load it. Is that gonna harm the parking lot? Because all you gotta do is take one chunk out of that parking lot,
You gotta resurface it.
then you gotta resurface it. My theory is you should have it at Pile Road,
Where you don't have
barricade it
asphalt.
off, and do it 2 times at Pile Road. You're not gonna harm the asphalt at the park, because you don't wanna have somebody calling you and say, why'd you have it here? Look at the parking lot. And then the county's not gonna pave it for a year because they don't have the funding to go get it.
Well, the good thing about it is if we have the trailers like we did at these others,
Okay?
they're on tires. So it would just be a matter
Well, I
of.
seen the one at the fire department in Nice. These
Yeah.
guys with these trailers were just backing up, dumping it in the dirt. And you got a backhoe or whatever they had over there.
And they were, they
scooping it
did.
up.
They were picking it up like
It was on the dirt, but now over here at the park, there's no dirt.
That's right.
Unless you park it where that guy parks his RV, but they fenced that off.
Yeah.
Well, but you still got the bucket down there scraping the garbage off the ground. But that's my opinion, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, so I can continue?
Yes.
All right. So budgets are coming up next month. Towards the end of the month, it's, let's see, I'm sorry, I have the date right here. I want to say June 25th through 27th will be the budget hearings. That's where we'll go through. I know that someone was asking about when we hit benchmarks for grants or any type of funding that's needed to be used or that's supposed to be, allocated or, reported on. That's the ideal place to come. If you're concerned about it, I know folks come forward and talk about, like, if the sheriff gives their report, asking about specific expenditures there, like what's copper costing us or what's, why isn't this being used when cannabis, has been, when it was voted on, there's a percentage that we're supposed to use for code enforcement or for law enforcement. That's the place where you can ask those questions. You're not getting what you need from, here, I'll do this. No, you're not getting what you feel you need from, code enforcement or whatever the case may be. That's where you can ask those questions. And when we can go through that, that's what really helps.
So this is gonna be a regular Board of Supervisors meeting?
We'll have the regular board meeting on the Tuesday, and then the next 3 days,
okay.
up to 3 days. It could be 2 or it could be 3.
But it'll be in the same
They'll be
venue.
just
Okay.
budget hearings, so we'll go through one by one, so.
You might get a few extra participants this year.
Usually we do, and it's
Oh,
good.
that's
They
good.
need to be there, so.
So if anybody has any questions about where your money is going, that's the time to raise them.
Right. Then, so on the 28th of this month, I think it's next Wednesday, Potter Valley Project, there's going to be a town hall at Soper Reese, and so that'll be a good place to get up to date on that. There's going to be basically a discussion, myself and Supervisor Sabatier, other folks that are part of different agencies like Farm Bureau, Lake Pillsbury Alliance. That's who I can remember at the top of my head right now, but there's more, and it's going to be a really good discussion. It sounds like they're going to be trying to get some other folks there that have a different viewpoint or whatever the case may be, but yeah, that's it right there. There it is. So if you want to check it out, go there next week, and we'll be doing that as well. So let's see. Reminder for you all. Now, if you recall, there was a Caltrans grant, or no, I'm sorry, a PG&E grant. I'm trying to make sure that I keep the sun behind me. There was a PG&E grant back in like 21, and it was budgeted for each and every town hall, so it's like $833. You guys haven't used it, so it's still there. And then there's a $3,033 amount that I've allocated to each town hall. Lucerne's used it for a agenda like type of software. They spent like $600 on it. And basically what it does is it puts the agenda, it gets it posted, it helps with the minutes and all of that stuff. And so it's one of those deals. Alex, he's able to, not Alex, Atlas, I'm sorry. His email is Alexander the Great, so forgive me. Atlas is, he works at Mendocino County as the clerk. He's like the Johanna of that group over there, so he does that, and he found this for us, so, yeah.
So we're not spending money?
No,
So that could be something that, that's actually great to know, because if we did want to do like a community calendar on a website, you can have we can build a website that's actually really low cost, but it does have an annual cost. So that's really good to know.
Do you have any idea what sort of expenditure you think would be?
I would not spend $600 on an agenda platform,
No.
but I would, a website.
Well, how much did the website cost?
A couple $100. The domain would cost like $13.
Right.
Like it's pretty low.
what he was saying too, though, is since they got it, it might be universal for all three. So if you guys split the cost, it could still be $600 or $599.
Do you know what the software is?
Yeah, I have to get with Atlas. Yeah, but he said the same thing once he put us onto it for Lucerne or Surth. He was able to, he's like, yeah, we can work with the other town halls.
Something's wrong with our agenda?
No, nothing at all.
It's got to be like a server or something.
No, you all have been following the Gene method, which Gene was efficient. So like you never had those issues with this. So, but we did have that.
You say the software publishes the agenda?
Yes, it's something that Atlas knows about because he does the work.
But I mean, it's like you put this in and it does everything automatically, sort of.
Yes, and it records it and keeps it on, and once he posts it, it goes right to the website and all of that. But again, he's privy to that because that's the work he does.
It has to be. Yeah.
It doesn't mean you all need it. That's not what I'm imposing to you right now, Tim. I'm just saying you have money to spend on specific things. And it's stuff like that. It's mailings, it's postings, it's flyers, it's workshops, it's things that, that you need to get to the information to the public.
What I would like to spend money on is a projector that has Bluetooth and USB, so that anybody can come and just pair it with your phone and do a presentation. That's just.
And that could be something. We just have to find a central place for it.
Is this funding that's got a deadline, June 30th or anything like that?
Because it was implemented last year and no one from each town hall used it, so we just carried it over.
Okay.
It's it's part of the discretionary funds that I put towards
so that's something that we should probably agendize or think through, and if the community has any recommendations.
Well, this thing about the website, we should probably consider that, what we need to do. Because if we can have a real website, that would be pretty good.
And I think that the folks from Earth just went through this, so they would be good to consult with.
They shared everything with us, and their website looks nice. Can't remember what it is right now.
I prefer a website to Facebook.
Well, we're gonna have to do both.
Well, this place seems to be very Facebook loving,
is
so
behind
I mean, you don't want to get rid of Facebook.
Yeah.
But Facebook is behind the gate.
I feel like Facebook's the
It is
CNN or Fox
7:15.
News.
Yeah, I know.
We have a question on Zoom. Go ahead. Can you tell Angela to go ahead and unmute?
Go ahead and unmute.
All right, thank you. I heard Supervisor Crandall mention what Surth used their money for, and just to let you guys know, Earth, we built our website for free. We got the domain, like Lisa Marie said, it was really cheap, and then we did the work on the website through a free platform. And then we just spent some money sending out flyers for everybody to let them know about the dump day, the website. So we just sent out a very informational half-page flyer, and I think that was around $1,500 to go to every resident in Clear Lake Oaks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And they have also was able to, because I've created you already had it, Tim. When you were the chair, you put together a Worth Facebook page. I did create one, but
we still have it.
A lot of folks kind of followed.
I didn't do it. I think maybe Margaret did it.
Okay. Well, I still have the one that because I created a Worth, Surth, and a Earth, and I gave the ability for some of the CERT members to, post or whatever the case may be, especially in East Region Town Hall as well. I'm willing to do the same because I know that you were working on it before. So if anyone, from the board
Well,
wants
that's, I mean,
access to
obviously,
that.
the Facebook, the Worth Facebook page is where I post the agenda every month.
Right.
You
And
know,
that's
but
why I
that's
haven't,
basically all I do there.
I haven't made it I haven't made the one that I created for you all. I haven't made that one really I haven't put nothing on it because I don't want to take away from yours, because yours seems to be the one everyone's following. So I'm not trying to take away from that.
We should discuss this, I guess. We should make an agenda item about pursuing the social media thing or the website. So we don't have to make up. I'll just do it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe next month we can discuss this. Right. So website.
And then last thing I'll mention, you talked about the paper subdivisions. I know that, Mike, I think you were mentioning how the paper subdivisions were a problem because the county's not maintaining those roads and it's private and this and that. The paper subdivisions are being addressed by the auditor and the tax collector. They're looking for a low value ordinance so that we can ensure to find a way to get those properties off the tax rolls, the default tax rolls, because what's happening is the fact that we have to run those consistently, it costs us more to run those than it does, no one's paid their taxes on those for 25 plus years in some instances. And so there needs to be a plan to not only dispose of those, if you will, I don't even know if dispose is the right word, but reallocate them in a different way. So like to a nonprofit or to another agency that's going to either conserve them, take care of them, or do something, because a lot of these properties can't be rebuilt on anyhow. There's nothing they can really do with it. That's the whole reason why people aren't paying on them. Yeah.
It would just be open land.
Right. And so from what Patrick Sullivan had mentioned to me is that there can be specific sealed bids, or there could just be an agreement. But of course we need the ordinance first, but that's another thing that I know is being worked on with them is the paper subdivision document that was created back in 14, and it's basically kind of just been sitting there, but reinvigorating that, because there is a plan in that document, but just reinvigorating it and just kind of making it more up to date and using that as a method to deal with some of those, so that way, some of this can be addressed in that. So, yeah.
Are we talking about eminent domain?
No, it's more or less, so like if I have a paper subdivision and I live in, Alabama, and I'm not taking care of it, I'm not paying taxes on it, I've never contacted anyone on it, and so each year more taxes keep accruing.
Right.
And so what the county is looking at doing is, with the low value ordinance, having, and it is something like that, but it's not eminent domain. It would be more or less doing like a sealed bid on the tax default sale, or a sealed, or an agreement with another agency to take it off of the county's hands.
All right.
But we're talking about expunging from the county roster the ownership experience or the ownership, the trail that led to that person in Alabama or Dakota or whatever, so that
You're trying to devise a low-cost method of transferring ownership.
The low value ordinance is just pertaining to the value of it. It's not even of value anymore. So that's what, yeah. So basically turning those into something that will be more beneficial to the county and not burdening our tax roll and the tax collector and the auditor's office. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
and the county in general.
Yep.
Would that also make an appreciable difference in our balance sheet?
Balance sheet as for tax rolls?
Yeah.
Yes, because then you're not seeing the amount that's owed for that property any longer. Now now it's just the actual defaulted properties that we can actually collect on. Because
this other amount that's just been gathering dust and increasing is basically uncollectible.
Right, and so they're developing an ordinance to specify what that would be.
Is there something at the state level that has happened in other counties that have gone through this experience?
When presented, Patrick discussed that, and that's why we gave them the direction to create this ordinance. And with the question you have, this is where we will address that. when the ordinance comes to the Board of Supervisors.
Has Patrick Sullivan made a presentation here?
Yeah, no, he didn't make one here, but he made one to us. Do you want him to come here?
No, I'm just, if I were to look it up to listen to it.
Oh, I can get it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I'd like that.
it was recorded, yeah. Matter of fact, I can send it to whoever does your page and you can post it there, or I can even just post it on my supervisor page so you can have it.
Okay.
All right,
All right,
that's all I got.
Supervisor, okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Do we have any announcements? Okay. Yes,
Oh,
Julia.
it's like I have one.
Well, you have one, well, while she's going there, you can make your announcement.
So there is a new, oh, I lost it. Look at that. There's a training, fire and forestry training that Career Point North Bay, it's the Workforce Alliance of North Bay, and Terra have recently received, they received a $4 million grant that was only available to Lake County to put this training on. The applications are due June 30th. You do have to be a Lake County resident. You do have some income eligibility. You have to be living below the poverty line. But it is based here in Upper Lake. The training will happen here, and the whole point is to get folks that have barriers to employment receive this training and get a true pathway to a very valuable service, which is fire and forestry for us. So the applications are available online. They do have a information session for it. It's actually happening right now, and it's happening in Clear Lake, which is pretty interesting, but that's fine. But if you are interested, if you know any young folks, I'm working on trying to get a flyer sent to me, and I will be sharing it with the Upper Lake High School so that they can share it out with all of their graduating seniors. The training starts in August, and after the training there is an on-the-job, it's called an OJT, which is an on-the-job training, which means that they're going to get a job, and the employer is actually going to receive payment for their training time. So their wage is actually subsidized by the local workforce development board until they graduate their training, and then they become full-time employees. And in order for businesses to qualify for that benefit, they have to agree that they are looking for permanent folks. So this is a program that was designed and is designed and only can apply for Lake County residents, and it's helping Lake County folks get jobs and keep jobs. So I wanted to make sure everyone heard that. In addition to that, the job center that's in Lakeport, the one that I used to oversee, it looks like it is most likely moving to Clear Lake, which is not, I think, beneficial. And so it might be something that folks want to pay attention to, and maybe if it is of interest, if you wanted to connect with me, I am considering, it is tricky because I used to work for them, but I'm considering how we can encourage the supervisors who do sit on the board for the Workforce Development Board to reconsider moving a center that's been there for 20 years. If you guys think of it as the EDD office, that is what they're trying to move to Clear Lake, and it's against the advice of many, many community partners. So if you're interested in learning more, I will keep you apprised of it here, but it's a resource that was available and is available in Lakeport right now that they're considering moving to Clear Lake, which is just going to be an additional barrier for our communities. So Supervisor Crandall, I'll definitely talk to you about it, but wanted to make sure everyone is aware about that.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay.
I have one brief
Well,
comment.
Julia was there.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you. I'll make it fast. I'm wearing two different hats here, so bear with me. First, thank you, Supervisor Crandall, about talking about the Lake County, Lake Pillsbury Town Hall, sponsored by the Lake County Chamber of Commerce on Wednesday, May 28th. Speakers include Frost Polly from the Mendocino County Farm Bureau, Todd Lambs, the mayor of Cloverdale, Larry Thompson, Lake Pillsbury Fire, and as Supervisor Crandall said, himself and Bruno, Supervisor Sabatier, and then the Lake Pillsbury Lions. Also, we may be seeing the Eel River Recovery Project and California Department of Fish and Wildlife. I am now going to talk about Saturday, May 24th at 9 a.m. I'm hosting a Mendenhall and Elk Mountain Road cleanup. We're meeting at the grocery store where you eat at 9 a.m. You're all welcome. I supply the bags and the vests and the gloves and the picker-uppers and bring water. It's a great way to keep our community clean and have fun with our community members. And then lastly, I am running for 3rd District Supervisor. And the election is June 2nd, 2026. But I'm having a kickoff campaign on June 2nd, which is in a week and a half, from 3 to 6 p.m. at the Lucerne Bistro. You are all invited. Food, drink, music, vendors, cookie making booths. There's a big raffle. We're going to have, I want to invite you, Supervisor Crandall, we're going to have the people that are working on the People's Lake County strategic plan. There'll be a round table so people can contribute their ideas. And I'm sorry. And there's flyers here. You're welcome to take one, and I hope to see you all there. And now I'm changing my hat to the secretary on the Upper Lake Community Services District Formation Committee.
We have a question on Zoom. I'm not sure if it's related to what you're talking, but you let down
Who is it? Who is it?
Angela.
Oh, is it Angela?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you like to speak?
No, it's another announcement afterwards. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So as the secretary, I am formally inviting you to partner with the Community Services District Formation Committee, the Army Corps of Engineers, the Red Cross, and we're hoping Office of Emergency Services to attend a kickoff meeting. We're going to be holding a workshop for flood warning, evacuation plan, and flood recovery because of the condition of the levees. So I make that formal invitation to you. We tried to make it before. I'm making it to you again. If you'd like to partner with us, you're welcome to. It's up to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Hello.
Hello, Worth.
Hello.
Margot Kambara. May is Wildfire Community Preparedness Month in Lake County. And it's better to be prepared than not, especially when it comes to disasters. So unfortunately, 'tis the season. So there are at least 2 resources available to you, courtesy of the state of California and the Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians Tribal Disaster Services. One is a disaster ready guide, and the other is a first aid kit for your mind. There are copies on the table here, free of charge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Angela. We have to go back.
No,
Angela?
Yeah, go ahead.
Angela, would you like to speak?
Thank you. I don't know if Supervisor Crandall mentioned it or not, but I wanted to let you guys know tomorrow evening from 3 to 6 p.m. is a Klaus Park, he's going to do another presentation at the Nylander building. It's a drop-in clinic. I believe the engineers are going to be there with Lars Ewing from the Parks and Rec. And that's from 3 to 6 tomorrow at the Nylander building behind the Red and White Market in Clear Lake Oaks. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll add to the Klaus. I'm glad that she mentioned. I totally forgot about that. I apologize. If you don't know what Klaus Park is, it's the property after the Moose Lodge, and there's an open area with a gate. The animals usually are right by that little pond of water. That area belonged to John T. Klaus, who passed, and he made an agreement to give it to the county. The county had to go through some conditions. It's taken a few years, but now it's moving along. So they're going the planning stages of what they're going to do with Klaus Park. It can't be developed on. only for recreation, park services, or things like that. So I'm glad that Angela mentioned that, because that will be tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank you, EJ.
Just a
Claudine?
quick, the high school graduation will be June 6th, Friday evening at 6 o'clock. And the Upper Lake Senior Center, we're still going, got yoga twice a week, and Tim's been so kind, he's installing a community computer for folks to use with a hookup to a
Claudine,
printer.
how many students are graduating from the high school this year, do you know?
That's a good question. I'll have to find that out.
Okay.
But,
It'll be too late by next month.
yes. Yes, yes.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.